Theoretical framework in environmental ethics. Anthropocentrism places humans at the center of moral concern, believing only rational beings like humans have moral value. Thinkers like Aristotle, Aquinas, Descartes, and Kant, along with Judeo-Christian teachings, supported the idea that nature exists mainly to serve human needs. Non-anthropocentric view. This view argues that non-human beings, including animals and nature, deserve moral consideration. It challenges human-centered thinking by promoting respect for all sentient beings and the environment. Sentientism holds that the ability to feel sensations like pleasure and pain gives a being moral value, not just rationality. Thinkers like Jeremy Bentham and Peter Singer argue that because animals are sentient, their suffering and happiness must be morally considered just like humans. Biocentrism, a life-centered ethical view that assigns intrinsic value to all living things, including humans, animals, and plants. It argues that being alive, not being rational or sentient, is enough to be part of the moral community. Ecocentrism. Ecocentrism values not only all life forms but also ecosystems and non-living components of nature. It expands beyond biocentrism and sentientism by emphasizing the intrinsic worth of the entire ecological system.
Some issues in environmental ethics. Sustainability issues is a crucial piece of sustainable development. The goal of ethical sustainability is to think of how humans ought to live while also considering their connections with other humans, the natural world, and future generations. Without these considerations, certain groups may feel marginalized or that they are not being treated fairly. Although a large part of ethics centers around the treatment of people, it is also important to discuss the considerations towards nature. Number 1 is rights of future generations. Future generations are entitled to all individual and collective human rights, including but not limited to civil and political rights, economic, social and cultural rights, the right to a clean, healthy and sustainable environment, the right to development, the right to self-determination, and the right to peace. Number 2 is population and consumption. The sum of all human activity, and thus the sum of all environmental, economic, and social impacts from human activity, is captured by considering populations together with consumption. Population customarily includes numbers of people and rate at which those numbers are changing. Number 3. Sustainable development. Sustainable development is an approach to growth and human development that aims to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Number 4. Non-human interest issues. It represents people and their problems, concerns, or achievements in a way that brings about interest, sympathy, or motivation in the reader or viewer. Number 5. Animal rights. Animal rights refers to the idea that many animals have fundamental rights to be treated with respect as individuals, rights to life, liberty, and freedom from torture that may not be overridden by considerations of aggregate welfare.
For the next topic, utilitarian agreement. The utilitarian agreement led by Peter Singer has said that all sentient beings, those capable of experiencing pleasure and pain, deserve equal moral contention regardless of their special. It challenged the idea that only rational beings have moral worth and in focus on minimizing surface and minimizing well-being for all creatures. This perspective calls into question practice as all animal consumption and experimentation agreeing that if animals can suffer, their interests must be equally reached alongside human interests. Trials is an ethics term that agrees that the moral right action is one that products that greatest good for greatest number of people. Focus on the consequences of action, holding that an action is right if its mixes over all well-being and wrong if leads to more harms than benefit according to interpretation. The next topic, deontological agreement. Deontological agreement or animal rights perspective assesses that animals have interested moral rights due to their safe awareness and shall not be exploited for human benefit, as argued by Tom Regan, biocentric ethics, exploitation, respect for nature. For the next topic, deontological agreement. The deontological agreement or animal rights perspective assents that animals have interest moral right due to their safe awareness and shall not be exploited for human benefit, as argument by Tom Regan. Biotic ethics enhances respect for nature, promoting presentable like non-maleficency, non-interferency, fidelity, and retributive justice to just human behavior toward living. Paul Taylor proposed resolving conflicts between human and non-human interests by applying concepts like self-defense, propriety, and minimizing harm to extort to the well-being of all living things. Deontology, as known as deontology ethics or duty-based ethics, is a normal moral theory that justice, the rightness or wrongness of an action decide on where there is adhered to a set of rules or duties rather that is consequences. It's exploiting that some actions are enhancing right or wrong regardless of their outcome.
Moral standing of living things. Biocentric ethics focuses on two basic issues of morality. A. What are the fundamental principles or responsibilities that arises from an attitude of respect for nature, and B. If conflict arises between human interests and those of other living things, what principles should govern resolving these conflicts? According to Paul Taylor, provided a fully developed and philosophical contemporary defense of biocentric ethics. He developed four general rules that follows from attitude of respect for nature. 1. Non-maleficence. We have a moral duty not to harm or kill living beings, though this does not apply to natural predator-prey relationship. 2. Non-interference. We should avoid interfering with natural freedom of organisms and ecosystems, such as by not confining or capturing animals for human use. 3. Fidelity. We must not deceive or betray animals, especially in activities like hunting or trapping that rely on trickery. 4. Restitutive justice. When harm is done to a living being or its environment, we are morally obligated to restore what was damaged or lost. Nonetheless, these obligations have some exceptions where significant human interest collides with the well-being of non-human entities. Taylor 1986 describes 5 priority concepts to resolve these conflicts. 1. Self-defense. Human interest takes priority when non-human species pose a threat to human health or life. 2. Proportionality. Non-essential human goals must not override essential needs of non-human beings, such as killing animals for luxury. 3. Minimum wrong. We must achieve our goals with least possible harm to other living things or nature. 4. Distributive justice. We need both humans and non-humans have basic needs. Resources should be fairly shared between them. 5. Restitutive justice. If harm is done to a living beings or nature, compensation like replanting trees or restoring habitats must be made. Environmental justice issues. This pertains to the equitable allocation of environmental advantage and disadvantages, the necessity to prevent certain societal sectors from being disproportionately impacted by tending environmental effects or hazards. Environmental justice ensures everyone has right to live in a clean, healthy environment, free from pollution and toxins. However, marginalized and poor communities often face greater environmental risks due to unequal protections and resource distribution.